I graduated from high school, I was looking forward to striking out on my own and going to college. I was a headstrong girl who looked forward to having her independence and being out from under my school teacher mother's watchful, perceptive eye. I gleefully used my earnings from my part-time job to purchase everything that I wanted and needed for college. I even paid to have my bed lofted. I was excited, ready to start this next phase in my life. College was distinctively more challenging than high school for a number of reasons, from weak study skills and habits, level of intensity and amount of work assigned, to inherent biases held by professors, associates, and myself. There was definitely a learning curve that I struggled to overcome my first semester. Fast forward, I transferred from one institution to another and completed my BS in communications, graduating cum laude from Ohio University. Today, I want to talk to you from the topic, growing pains and life's transitions. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jennifer Mitchell Early. I help individuals and teams achieve organizational and personal success, and this is Leadership Matters. I'm sure that some of you can relate to my story of going off to college, as you, too, experience the same, or you are a parent and your kids are in the midst of a similar transition. My daughter is in the early stages of her own transition. Unlike me, she wasn't excited about this next season of her life, nor was she anxious to get to college so that she could start living life on her own terms. Frankly, I was a bit perplexed by her lack of enthusiasm. I couldn't figure out what the problem was. Initially, I thought this will get better. Once she's on campus, she'll get acclimated, make new friends, and happily pursue her dreams. Well, let's just say that theory is very different than practice. Theoretically, my daughter has gotten acclimated, she's made new friends, and she is diligently, painstakingly pursuing her passion of photography. But practically speaking, she's still in the midst of a transition, moving uncontrollably forward into her future while desperately trying to hold on to the familiarity of the only existence that she's ever known: friends, boyfriend, home, creature comforts, and family. I joined a parents group because she's my only child, and even though I'm an alumna of the university she attends, much has changed since I've been there as a student, and I've never experienced it from the perspective of a parent. Within days of dropping our kids off, and in the midst of parents and their children equally struggling with this transition, other parents were posting sentiments such as, "Leave your kids alone. Let them struggle through making their own decisions," etc. While folks are trying to be helpful when they tell you to take a step back and allow your son or daughter to figure things out on their own, the sad truth is, in most cases, these sentiments are received as critical and judgmental, and only serve to exacerbate the anxiety and worry that parents to new college students naturally have. Just because our kids have turned 18 and are attending college doesn't mean that our children have been orphaned or that we stop being parents. I'm 48 and still appreciate, acknowledge, and respect my senior parents' input, both solicited and unsolicited. Shh. You can't tell my mother. The fact of the matter is they are still my parents, have still lived longer than me, and have more life experience, and still have wisdom to share and from which I can glean. The same is true for our children. No parent likes to see their child or children struggle. Every time that your kid came to you with a problem, you tried to assist them through it. The goal was to raise a healthy, well-adjusted, productive member of society. Even though our kids grow up, they're still our kids. They still need our love, guidance, encouragement, advocacy, wisdom, care, etc. Only you know your kid, what they'll respond to, what will build them up, or cut them to the core by breaking their spirit. As they mature, they'll need you in different ways, but they'll still need you. My daughter called me. She wasn't feeling well physically. She was defeated spiritually and having trouble staying up mentally. My ordinarily responsible, hardworking, she worked through high school, effervescent, high honor student daughter was apprehensive, self-conscious, self-doubting, overwhelmed, and miserable. As a mother, I kicked into high gear, reassuring her that this was normal. How she was feeling was normal, and it would soon pass, but quietly. The nagging thought persisted in the back of my mind. Will it pass? And then I remembered. It was my last quarter in college. I transferred from a semester school to a quarter school and lost some credits in the process. I graduated with my class in May, but wouldn't complete the requirements of my degree until December. With most of my friends gone and starting their careers, I was left on campus to finish up. Because I'm a goal-oriented type 8 personality, it's easy for me to focus, hone in on my goal, and work to exhaustion to achieve it. I took 20 quarter hours, worked 15 to 20 hours a week, and secured a job and an apartment in another city before I graduated. I didn't feel the growing pains of transition until my parents pulled away from my apartment complex, heading back home 4 hours away. I cried as I called to leave them a message on their answering machine at home, telling them how grateful I was for them and how much I'd missed them. The first 3 months were devastatingly hard. I had no friends. I didn't know anything about the community and or city that I was now living in, and I hated my job. I was there, I'd signed a lease, committed to my company, and had to endure. It was a transition. At 23 years of age, I felt everything that my daughter is feeling, unsure, uncomfortable, and lost. I remember getting my first paycheck and sitting in my bed crying to figure out how I was going to pay my rent, bills, and be able to buy groceries. Growing pains are real, and life transitions aren't always easy. 9 months later, I transferred with my company back home and successfully pursued a career there until I decided to go back to school to obtain my master in education, adult learning and development. And since that time, I've endured many other growing pains and life transitions. With these experiences in mind, I encourage, fortify, and support my daughter through her growing pains. This is a transition. It's the first of many that she will endure in her lifetime. Going through is not a question. It's a matter of fact. We all must go through life transitions, whether good or bad. They bring about a level of uncertainty, which in turn causes stress and anxiety, simply because it's unknown and outside of our control. In the Psychology Today article, Keys to Handling Life's Transitions Within the Angst Light Opportunities for Change, author Robert Taby, licensed clinical social worker, cites these tips for surviving and thriving through these difficult and uncertain times. 1. Expect to feel depressed and anxious. Whenever we move forward, we leave something behind, and this creates a psychological state of grief, however small. And if the change is unexpected and unwanted, the sudden job layoff or relationship breakup, the shock and depression are greater. And with such turmoil comes anxiety. We're out of our comfort zone. Our imaginations run wild. We worry about an unknown future. 2, realize that this is a new old chapter in your life. While you need to acknowledge your loss, you don't want to get stuck in the past. Acknowledging that a door is closed is psychologically healthy. Spending your time staring at it is not. While it sounds like a cliche, the next step after an end is a new beginning, a new chapter, and keeping this in mind can give you a sense of a fresh start. And while the particular circumstances are new, the process itself is familiar. You have, after all, made transitions before, changing schools, neighborhoods, relationships, or jobs. You know the terrain. You've acquired experience and skills along the way. You can do this again, and this time even better. 3, think positive. Think opportunity. During times of transition, when everything seems to be in flux, when your old patterns have collapsed, you may feel unsteady, but are also most malleable to change. Now is the time to explore, brainstorm, consider the makeover before your life begins to naturally solidify into new patterns. 4, hit the ground running and don't take too long to get started. We're creatures of habit and routine, and those routines can congeal quickly. Once the momentum is lost, it'll feel harder to break out. 5, get support. It's tough transitioning on your own. In my daughter's case, she may be leaning on old friends until she develops new ones, leaning on her professors as she tackles the learning curve of the new assignment, or relying on family for moral support. While others may rely on counselors, when you are feeling a bit ungrounded, support from others can help you keep perspective and moving ahead. 6, have realistic time frames and expectations. There are going to be difficult days where you question your decisions and the path that you're on. Be patient. Realize that it's going to take time to feel confident, make new friends, and become familiar with your new terrain. Transitions are those unique times when we toss off the old but have not yet stepped into the new. While the circumstances are always different, the skills and attitudes needed to successfully move ahead are always the same, namely being positive, patient, and proactive. If you found this video valuable, please hit the like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so that you will be notified every time I upload new content. See you in my next video.